I just want us to move to the issue of funding for the aviation sector. I have some figures for you. I'd just like you to just listen for a few seconds. The Central Bank, according to reports, the aviation sector grabbed a total of 48.9 billion naira, which is about 1.1% of the 2012 budget. Now, even if the Central Bank has estimated that the amount needed for that sector, for the revamping of that sector, is 300 billion naira. Now, how much of these had gone into the sector? How much impact has it made?
Well, I think we must commend the effort of the government in this area. But whatever one can say about this is the mere fact that the airlines, especially, more or less caused distress to some banks. And so what has been put into the system is more or less to relieve the banks of the indebtedness of the airline to them. So really, and we also are aware about some of the funds also that were released that are meant to relieve the airline, but they were not judiciously spent. So I believe that while the government has done enough, there's still a lot to be done. But we must also be fully aware that because of the peculiarity of our system, the government should resist the attempt of putting money into private pockets. They must look for other ways. Take the China example. I mean, the government can go out, at least finance, so many types of aircraft, put in a pool from which these airlines can live, rather than putting money in people's pockets. That is one way. I also believe that it is not enough for the airline to be funded. The people that need the funding, the Accident Investigation Bureau, they need to continue to do research to prevent accidents. The regulatory authority needs to be funded. The manpower need of this country should be a source of worry. And which means the College of Aviation Technology must be funded. Not to talk about meteorology, NIMET, the same thing, the airports, as well as the airspace. So it is not just the airline. We should look at the totality rather than just focusing on the airline.
Okay, I would like to talk about manpower a little bit. 30 years ago, the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, estimated that Nigeria would need 500 air traffic controllers to effectively manage airspace. But presently, that goal has not been achieved so far, and because of the high turnover of skilled personnel in the sector. What does this say to you?
It's very, very worrisome. But the people who are in authority, because once we are working for government, the tendency is to want to speak for the government all the time. We don't want to face reality. And you see, when forceful must have fallen down, the only thing that stands erect is the truth. It's the only thing constant. I believe that if we don't accept the fact that what ICAO is saying is the truth, and we are giving excuses all the time, then we are in trouble. Because consistently, you ask, why do we have major accidents always in the weekend? That is when we have supervision is least effective. That is when we don't even have qualified people to be on duty. That is the period when people who should be supervised are now the supervisors. Why? Because we are short of manpower, but we don't want to accept it. We always tell everybody that we have enough, we have trained this, we train all that. The number of hours that an air traffic controller, an engineer, a pilot can work at any particular day is regulated. We can't run away from it. With the number we have, we must be able to cope without violating regulatory requirements. But that is what we have in our hand. If we don't tackle the manpower issue, we are calling for problem in future. And in our system, what is going to kill the system is the mere fact that we depend so much on these state balancing, federal character, and this and that. So if you come from, you must have so many from this state, from that state. So if some states cannot produce qualified personnel, that means we cannot double the number for another state. That is the problem we have here. If that problem will continue to stare us on the face, federal character.
Now, the issue of the lifting of the suspension.
Manpower need of the industry, otherwise we are postponing the D-Day, and it's going to be very dangerous for the future.
Now, the controversy surrounding the lifting of suspension of Dele Ore is still in the news, and a lot of people are of the view that perhaps the government should have waited a little more to do more investigations into what led to the cause. But in your view, what do you think would have been the best option for the government?
The government likes to do the wrong thing the right way. It's very unfortunate. But as far as the Dana thing, we are all living witnesses, government apologizing, accepting their responsibility, and say they have made mistakes. So I don't want to go through all that anymore, but we didn't do too well. The government did not do well because we have in place statutory functions for so many organizations that we were casting aspersion on their capability, and we did not allow them to do their job. The Senate was doing this, ministry setting up a technical panel, all kind of things, when we have statutory bodies to do the job. But now they realize exactly what Aviation Roundtable has been saying, that you got it wrong, and they were calling us names. I'm happy that now the government has seen the light, and they are now backtracking and are doing the right thing.
Okay.
To God be the glory.
Let's take a look at the market share in terms of the aviation sector in Africa right now. According to our data, it seems that out of the 15 airlines collated on the continent, Nigeria, no Nigerian airline carrier was among the top 15. South Africa, for instance, it had about 10.7% of the market share on the continent. Kenya Airways had 3.6% market share. These figures speak volume, don't they?
Well, I think the problem is not that of Nigeria alone. It's simply because the African government, because they don't trust themselves, they will not even recognize working together. The Yamoussoukro decision, the regional things in Banjul and all that, we are not taking positive steps to make sure that the African countries and the African airlines cooperate with one another. And no airline in Africa can survive on its own without cooperation with others. And that is why we have a problem. So if the government really get committed to all these regional decisions, I think it will go a long way, because the participation of the African airline, they are too significant. While I would say the participation of Nigerian carriers is nil, completely negligible. So I believe by working together within the continent, by choosing our partner correctly also from outside Africa, I'm sure we might be able to come out in future. Otherwise, we just fly, capital fly all over at the time in every African country, which is a big shame.